there's practically no platforms which allow that capability. In fact, we are also the shock observers for the economy in some sense, because we have a lot of people who face job loss in other areas, and the one fallback they immediately get is to operate on food delivery till the time they find another job. So there are many benefits there. I do think as the conceptually on this side, the whole thing needs to be understood very differently from employment, because the people who are coming in are also choosing with their feet not to get permanently employed, but to have flexible employment of some nature, right? So I think it's fascinating. It's a three-sided marketplace, but for each constituency, the number of features and the number of benefits that a platform like us is blessed to provide is probably a amazing part of at least my job. Right?
Next question. Why is MIH India not qualified as a promoter, even though their post OFS stake will be 26%? And the second question by the same journalist is, how much capital has the company raised till date?
Sure. So on the first question, I think, so the process will be below 25% at listing. So including the primary dilution that is happening as part of the IPO, they will be below 25%. And as per current SEBI regulatory guidelines that are available, below 25%, you don't have to file as a promoter. So the total capital that we have raised till date is around $3.2 billion.
Given the Ministry of Finance has come out with a monthly review mentioning the potential slowdown in urban demand, how do you plan to tackle that?
I mean, at this point, we're not seeing that. The businesses have been demonstrating strong growth, all the businesses. We continue to do what we have been doing, serving consumers well, and making sure that demand continues to flow through. We just briefly talked about how exciting each of these categories are in from a demand and growth standpoint, and we see no signs of slowing down there.
And we continue to add consumers, categories, and geographies onto our platform, which ultimately continues to aid our growth. So like Harsha said, we've not really noted this on our platform as much.
Okay, thank you. We have one last question, which has come. As newer categories and products are rapidly launching on Instamart, could you give us some insights about what would be the share of revenue coming from discretionary categories versus essential categories?
Yeah, so, okay, if you look at essential as grocery, obviously the majority of numbers still essentially actually comes from them. But the way I would want to classify is the way I think it has been identified essentially in the question. It's a need of an hour thing. We are seeing an expansion across all categories, and obviously these newer categories which are non-grocery are expanding much faster, and that is leading to a more broad-based inclusion of all these categories in the basket as well. The one trend that we have seen is that yes, some of these categories are more head-heavy. Any head-heavy category is moving faster, but it is essentially broad-based.
Thank you everyone for your questions. We will now call upon Mr. Arvind Vashishta, Managing Director, Head of India ECM, Citigroup Global Markets India Private Limited, to share the closing remarks.
No, thank you to all of you for coming and asking questions, listening to the story. As you all have seen, Swiggy has been, the pioneer of hyper-local, hyper-commerce in India. And this IPO gives a opportunity for investors to participate in the growth which is coming up with a management team which is truly world-class and a business which we believe is very high quality. The management team also believes that the valuation at which the IPO is coming is attractive in its own right, as will be visible with the anchor participation that you'll all see when the anchor is announced. So we do hope for a strong support from all of you for the IPO. Please do join us for lunch. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, everyone, for gracing us with your presence. We request your support in making this IPO a success.
Thank you, everyone.
For any further queries, please feel free to reach out to the Ad Factors team. And please join us for lunch.